You know, it is officially football season when we got the Week 1 depth chart out and we've got the Week 1 depth chart to talk about. On today's show, we're talking about the release of the depth chart, and I got 3 surprising takeaways that we need to discuss about some things that I saw that I guess were a little bit shocking and that I necessarily didn't 100% expect. So coming up on today's show, I got a surprising starter in the wide receiver room to talk about, a shock at the linebacker 2 deep, and you might be surprised who that cornerback room has at the cornerback 2 spot. Let's give a little update on this Week 1 sub battle before we get into the rest of the content. Packers report 102 subs, Lions talk 119. Okay, plain and simple. We're down 17 subs. If you hate the Lions, if you hate Dan Campbell, and if you love the Packers, this is the perfect time to subscribe to today's show, battling them all week long, and right now we find ourselves in a distant second place. I need 20 diehard Packers fans to hit that subscribe button, and when you do, you'll lock us in for daily content, all 100% free. Enough of that. Let's talk about the depth chart takeaways, the 3 things that surprised me a little bit. Now, this first one might have been the least surprising of them all, but I think it's still worth noting and it's still worth discussing because Matthew Golden is a starter, and can I get a praise the Lord, hallelujah. And look, I know how we all expected this to happen at some point, right? And it is well-deserved that Matthew Golden is a starting wide receiver on this roster. But the surprising part to me is we know how this franchise deals with wide receivers. We know that Matt LaFleur does not like to label anybody as wide receiver 1. So I would not have been surprised one bit if he was at the wide receiver 2 spot and a guy like Dontavian Wicks was given the nod in this starting depth chart over him because he's just been in the National Football League longer. Matt LaFleur might have a little bit more trust in him right now. But at the end of the day, we all expect him to be a starter at some point. I just maybe didn't necessarily expect it to be on that Week 1 depth chart. And I think the greatest news of everything over the past week, and yes, I'm including the Micah Parsons trade in this, is that Matthew Golden changed his number to number 0. Not only does he get away from 22, which I know you guys, some of you liked it, some of you didn't care. I didn't love it as a wide receiver number. I know it means nothing, but I just didn't like it personally. Not only does he move away from that, but he goes to one of the coolest numbers on the field at a wide receiver position. I absolutely love it. I think he's going to look phenomenal in it. And I'll be honest with you. I'm just trying to be transparent because we're friends here. I might have too high of expectations. I might be setting myself up for some disappointment because I have all the belief in the entire world in Matthew Golden, his skill set, and what he's going to be able to bring to the table for this team. Okay? It might be to my detriment that I think he's going to be one of the best wide receivers in the NFC this year, even as a rookie. Predict Matthew Golden's stat line for me in the comments section down below. Give me receptions, yards, and touchdowns in 2025. What do you think he's getting? Let me know. Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. It's pretty much where we're going to spend the rest of our time. Isaiah McDuffie, he keeps his starting spot. The linebacker depth chart reads as follows. The 3 linebacker ones that you'll see on the left side of your screen are Isaiah McDuffie, Quay Walker, and Edgerrin Cooper. Then you go to the 2 deep, and you see who they got behind him. It's Tyron Hopper, who is the backup to both McDuffie and Quay Walker. And then it's also Nick Neiman, who's the backup to Edgerrin Cooper. I thought there was a chance, I'll be honest with you, that Tyron Hopper was the starter going into this season. Just because of how phenomenal he looked during the preseason. And I'm not just saying like PFF grades, which was awesome. We'll talk about that. Honestly, like right now we could show it. 90.1 PFF grade. He was the 2nd highest graded Packer in the entirety of the preseason. That's phenomenal. But PFF grades are one thing. It's another thing when you watch the film itself and you see somebody who stands out. You see somebody who looks different. You see somebody who's making an impact every single down, and that was Tyron Hopper. I wouldn't be shocked to see this change soon. I like Isaiah McDuffie, and I know since they extended him in free agency, that is probably what led to him ultimately getting the starting nod. But I would not be shocked one bit if halfway through the season, Tyron Hopper is getting more snaps in than Isaiah McDuffie is. And I get it. Given those guys 2 stats, that might surprise you. I mean, Isaiah McDuffie had 88 tackles more than Tyron Hopper last year. 3 tackles for loss, half a sack, 3 pass breakups, and a forced fumble. Tyron Hopper basically didn't have any of that. But he's made that jump that we've all been waiting for, and from everything we saw during the preseason, I think we're expecting a really big year from him. Who do you think should start out of those 2 guys? Is it Isaiah McDuffie or is it Tyron Hopper? You let me know in the comment section down below who should be the starting linebacker. If you think it's McDuffie, go ahead and give me an IM. And if you think it's Tyron Hopper, go ahead and give me a TH. Again, it's going to be McDuffie, but you let me know who you think should be the starter. Underdog is the sponsor of today's video, and they are also the best place to make picks and win money all football season long. Football is here at Underdog, is the best place to have the most fun while watching all your favorite teams. Let's cut to the chase. If you download the app today and sign up with promo code Packers Report, you score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. Playing on Underdog is easy. Just pick whether your favorite players will go higher or lower on stats like touchdowns and receiving yards, interceptions, and more. Get your picks right, and you can win up to 5,000 times your cash. You can play with as little as just $1. And we got the Thursday night kickoff, Eagles, Cowboys, and I know you probably hate both of those teams. To make it a little bit more interesting from us, how about you join me in this Underdog lineup? Higher CeeDee Lamb, 6.5 receptions. I feel like Dallas is going to air it out at the end of the game. They're going to be down. Higher than Saquon Barkley, 2.5 receptions. And then give me the higher on Dak Prescott, 36.5 pass attempts. Again, I think Cowboys are down late in the fourth quarter. I think they pass the ball as much as they can. Download the app today and sign up with promo code Packers Report. Score $50 in bonus funds when you play your first $5. That's promo code Packers Report. Millions of fans have already won billions making picks on Underdog. Will you be next? Underdog. Make picks, win money. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 or older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms_DFS_.html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 Hope line at 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369. My third takeaway, Bo Melton is a second-string quarterback. And, I mean, all the props in the world to the guy. This is how the depth chart reads for the cornerback position. Keyshawn Nixon, Nate Hobbs, Carrington Valentine, Keyshawn Nixon, Nate Hobbs are your CB1. Carrington Valentine and Bo Melton are your CB2, and Kamal Hadden, who honestly, in my opinion, was the surprise that made this roster, is your cornerback 3. Bo Melton had 77 days between the day he was told that, hey, you're going to be a cornerback, not a wide receiver anymore, until final roster cutdown day. He had 77 days to switch his position and make the roster. And now not only did he make the roster, but he's not even quarterback 3. He's the quarterback 2 on this team. That is incredible. Okay, and as excited as that makes me and how happy and impressed I am that he was able to pull that off, I do realize that this is going to go one of 2 ways. Okay, either he's going to get embarrassed, which I hope isn't what ends up happening, but it's hard to go from wide receiver to cornerback. I think we all need to realize that. Okay, that's a very, very difficult thing to do. Cornerback is behind quarterback, the hardest position to play in football. Or he's going to be phenomenal. He's going to be great. Okay? And if you throw it back to his draft process and you look at his relative athletic score, you see how highly he was thought of, just athletically. So this shouldn't really surprise anybody that he was able to make this switch and make this roster. And the good thing is, his 2 worst things, height and weight, aren't necessarily terrible things to not have a lot of as a cornerback. What you need is lateral quickness, which he was fantastic at. You need short speed, you need long speed, and all of those things he did really, really well when he tested, and I believe are part of the reasons he was able to transition to be a cornerback so very easily. I got 3 final takeaways before we get on out of here. Number 1, Quay Walker is listed as a starting left tackle over Jordan Morgan. This should not be a surprise if you're tapped in, because Quay Walker actually told reporters this about a week ago after the Micah trade, that he would be the starting left tackle. Emmanuel Wilson is over Chris Brooks at the running back 2 spot, which I think surprises a lot of people, because everybody kind of expected if one of those two guys was going to miss the roster, it was going to be Wilson, not Brooks. But Wilson is now at the RB2 spot. And lastly, Lucas Van Ness is now backing up Rashawn Gary, which, if you know how it was a week ago, Rashawn Gary and Lucas Van Ness were starters, just on two different sides of the defensive end room. Kingsley Enagbare was Lucas Van Ness's backup. Well, now Micah Parsons takes LVN's spot, and instead of shifting LVN back and Kingsley Enagbare over, they actually just move LVN over behind Rashawn Gary, and they move up a guy like Kingsley Enagbare. My thoughts on why this happened is because Micah Parsons, I believe, is going to out-snap Rashawn Gary, and I think that Rashawn Gary is going to get a little bit more rest time. And so when he does, they want the guy who initially was going to be the starter, Lucas Van Ness, to be able to make up in those snaps. Because if he's just solo backing up Micah Parsons, he's not going to have as much time to play, and he's not going to see as many snaps as if he's the guy right behind a guy like Rashawn Gary. That's going to do it for today's show. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Here's my Twitter. Here's my Instagram, at Joey Petersen 8 on both of those. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, what are you doing? Make that change today. Join us for daily coverage of the Green and Gold.